Got new shows every Sunday.
And the Ramblings with Rob.
Here we go.
What up, everybody? This your boy B Rob, and I'm back with another edition of the Random Ramblings with Rob podcast. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you, the listener, for coming back each and every week, or however you listen to podcasts. If you're a first-time listener, I'd like to thank you oh so much for giving my show a try. And if anybody recommended you to me, I would like for you to give that person a crisp high five. But if you're being socially cautious and everything, I know you don't want to be touching hands with nobody and getting into too close of a proximity. But you can use your social media app of choice to send that person a well-crafted DM telling them thank you for recommending you to me. Speaking of social media, you can find the Random Ramblings with Rob on various social media platforms to include Twitter at 3R Show, Instagram at The 3R Show, and YouTube. You can find video interviews by searching for 3R Show. And for anything that I may have forgotten to mention, you can go to randomrob.com, and it's all there on the website, randomrob.com. Also, to be found there on randomrob.com, the sponsor, Hooks Rubs and Spices. Hooks Rubs and Spices. You can go to hooksrub.com and you can get 15% off your order if you use promo code RANDOM. There's a variety of delicious spices and flavors to put all over whatever type of food that you want to eat. You can put Hooks Rubs and Spices on it in some form or fashion. So get that promo code in RANDOM and get that 15% off on hooksrub.com. Okay. Yeah, this episode is late, but it doesn't matter if you hadn't listened to, if you wasn't looking for it on the release date or anything like that. Your boy has been busy, both freaking personally, professionally, and podcasts fully. You think the podcast portion of it would fall under professional, but when I say professional, I mean my day job or whatever, you know. So I don't know. A lot of calamity has been going on as well. My fucking fence fell down, but miraculously it was repaired by the freaking management company of my neighbors because they rent. So the rent company paid for a new fence. So big ups for that. I appreciate that very much. Didn't have to come out of pocket for that. Although I did spend $30 on a post hole digger. So I did kind of come out of pocket on something. I don't know another worldly use that I would ever have for a post hole digger, but I got one in my garage now with amongst the array of tools that I have amassed over the years. My lawnmower died, so I wasn't able to cut my little portion of grass, and it was getting kind of wild back there. I was spraying some grass killer and weed killer on it just to keep it down low and everything, but that shit was looking like Jumanji in that motherfucker. So I had to cop some money up for a new lawnmower. And I've went electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie. A lot of old heads might get that, but now I feel like a nerd for using that reference. But I got an electric lawnmower, come with a big ass battery and a charger and everything. And I used it for the first time, yesterday. And you know, it just doesn't have that heft to it like a gas mower or whatever, but it gets the job done. It doesn't suck up a lot of the grass like you would think it would, because I got the bag mower as well. And when I had a gas mower, I had a bag mower as well. So, you know, if you have trees and they drop leaves on the ground and everything, that lawnmower mulch that shit up, suck it up and spit it in the bag or whatever. This freaking battery operated one I got, the electric one I got, it does a fairly good job, but it doesn't have as much power as a gas one would. And that's also due to the fact that I didn't get one of the higher end models of it or whatever. So there's some more powerful than the one that I got, but for my yard and I guess what I need or whatever, I mean, it does it just fine. So if you have a smaller yard, I would highly recommend getting one of these electric joints or whatever. You ain't got to put no oil in this bitch. You ain't got to put no gas in that motherfucker. You just charge the battery up, plug, and pop that hoe in whenever you need to use it. And boom, bam, you got that shit done. I think the only thing left in my tool arsenal that I want to get is a goddamn chainsaw and a freaking leaf blower. especially the goddamn leaf blower, because I got this tree in the front yard. That's what the chainsaw gonna be for. I'm gonna cut that motherfucker down so I won't have the leaf problem in my goddamn yard. I hate grass. I hate leaves. I hate sand. It's coarse. It gets everywhere. And it gets on my nerves. It bothers me so much. But hey, it is what it is. I will adapt and overcome. I will damn saw this motherfucking tree down. Maybe I don't know if it's in my homeowner's thing that I can cut down the whole goddamn tree, because every tree in our freaking housing area has, every house in our housing area has a fucking tree in the front yard, and I think that's a prerequisite of the homeowners association. So I'm gonna whittle this bitch down as small as I can, and it's still gonna be classified as a tree. It just ain't gonna have a lot of branches and leaves on this motherfucker, because it's gonna look like a burnt match by the time I'm done with that motherfucker. Been busy with freaking RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk. There's some changes undergoing because, there's been a regime change over there. A lot of the original hosts, or some of the hosts that were there more regular, have, stepped away to do other projects, or just, resume other avenues of entertainment and whatever have you. But we're just kind of finding our niche with me, Cody, Noah, and Paul. So there's a lot of changes coming through. So it's just been a lot of things going into that aspect of the podcast game. So, just a lot of Patreon work, because every weekend we have to do a Patreon show or come up with some Patreon ideas just to, keep the membership flowing in and everything, which I thoroughly enjoy. And thanks to one of our co-hosts, Noah. He's a big comic book guy. Paul is too. But Noah is the one that's kind of pulling us all in and hipping us to the world of comics, which I've never been a big fan of. I was born in an era to where, comic books were prevalent, but, for our era now, technology is key. So cell phones, tablets, the internet, computers, those are the hot shit. And I was a kid that grew up, pre these things. So home computers weren't readily accessible to residential neighborhoods. No, if you had a fucking phone, it was a house phone. So I was primarily an outside kid, when I was younger. I went outside and I played. I went to neighbor's house and we played with the kids on the block, and we went to the park and did outside shit. So me sitting in the house and reading comic books was furthest from my mind, as a younger kid. And then, the technology started coming in, and I started getting more into video games and all those other stuffs, to where, I wasn't really down with holding a paper book in my hand and reading things and whatnot. I gravitated towards movies. Love watching movies. So that became my thing. So comic books were the furthest from my mind as possible. And now here I am, 40 years old, just turned 40 years old, March 29th. And I'm just discovering comics because of Noah. He does a show called Noah's Story Arc, and, he picks a series for one of the hosts to read, and we all get together and we talk about it. So the particular series that I was pulled into was Thor, God of Thunder. And this is conveniently ahead of the new Thor Love and Thunder movie that's coming out. And it might have the series that we read might have some tie-in to the movie that's coming out and the cinematic universe moving forward. So it was a great read. I would recommend it. And I just been going down the rabbit hole today of other things that I want to read. Because of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I've become a Black Panther fan, and I've been a fan of Blade for the longest. But I did not know anything of these characters beyond the cinematic universe. So now Noah has given me a taste of comic books and everything with this Thor series. I am going back and I'm gonna read some stuff on Black Panther and Blade. And you know I love Deadpool as well, so I already got some manga on Deadpool. They released a Shonen Jump version, Samurai Deadpool. So I have issue 1 of that. So I have that, and then I'm gonna go back and read some Deadpool stuff. I subscribe to Comixology and goddamn Kindle Unlimited and shit. So I have a plethora of options to choose from. I also have the Batman series, The Court of Owls, a series that Noah recommended after we watched the Batman movie. So I'm immersing myself in these properties, you know, years and years and years later after some of these things have been out, you know, for a long time. So I'm catching up. And, you know, I'm reading sparsely because I don't want to get too into it. I think my format is going to be actually seeing a movie, you know, catering to the Marvel universe or whatever character that I'm reading first. And then I'm going to go into the background of that film or whatever, like The Batman. I watched the movie first, and now I'm going back through the Court of Owls series because it might have some tie-in with this movie. I've already jumped the gun kind of with Thor, but that doesn't come out for a while, and we had to do it for the Patreon episode. So I'm going to just finish the rest of this series, the God of Thunder, and there's some other volumes to this story. So I'm going to finish that. And then I downloaded 3 volumes of one of the Black Panther series to where they team up, where the Black Panther teams up with Luke Cage and other various black superheroes. Like, was it? I can't even think. Blade, of course, Luke Cage, and amongst others and everything. So I'm excited to read a lot of that because it was something that I heard about hearsay, but never read for myself. So now I'm actually getting down to it. So yeah. And then work has just been, my day job work has just been up and down, back and forth. You know, I'm on days, now I'm on nights. I'm working a whole week, and then I'm off 3 days, and then I'm back on. So I'm not complaining in the money department, but my free time has been sparse. It's been hard to schedule interviews and stuff again. But when I'm not doing anything 3R show related, I'm over on the RBR side doing things wrestling related. And so far, being a host of that show, I'm really now, because I knew everybody there at face value. Now I'm getting since I've been there for a while, I'm really getting into their personality wrestling wise. So that's been interesting or whatever. And I'm still finding out some things or whatever, but it's still fun. It's still interesting. Some hot takes being had over on RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk. And, yeah, I invite all of you who enjoy the professional wrestling side of things to come over to RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk and just hang with the crew. We would appreciate your patronage. You can go to patreon.com, RBR Wrestling /RBR Wrestling, and join the shenanigans in the Discord and all the other stuff that we got going on extra on top of our weekly show on Wednesday nights following AEW Dynamite. So yeah, I've just been busy, and I apologize once again for having this show out kind of late, but it's here. Consistency is key, and I have not stopped producing and putting out this show for how many episodes? 323 episodes consecutively since I started in 2016. And I plan on keeping the ball rolling. So, you know, just had to give y'all an update. I'm still here. I'm rocking and rolling. And I appreciate y'all for hanging in there, listening, checking in on your boy and whatnot. But I'm doing just fine. So, with that being said, check in on RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk. Thank you for all your questions for the Ask Miss B Rob. That episode is up on YouTube, and I have a 15-minute bonus episode because some people put some questions in late, and Mrs. B Rob didn't want y'all to go without having your questions answered. So I'll have that audio out and the video up on YouTube here momentarily. It'll be this week. So just be keeping your eyes out for notifications and all that stuff. So once again, I appreciate you all, and I'll see you next time.